What it do? Yo man, listen. Today, I'm gonna be talking about a beginner-friendly raid composition. Let's get right into it. Recently, I made a video titled Draupnir talks about the most efficient guild raid comp in Tacticus. In this video, I proclaimed that the Ragnar Blackmane multi-hit comp was the quote-unquote most efficient team in the game because you could use it against the most amount of bosses with the greatest amount of success. However, that video was not new player friendly. There were a lot of comments in the comment section saying, "Hey Draupnir, I don't have Ragnar Blackmane, I can't do this comp. All the characters you're telling us that we should be building are characters that require a lot of time, effort, and investment to acquire. And you are absolutely right, okay? I messed up, okay? I messed up, it's fine. I am man enough to admit that I will put the fries in the bag, big bro. Okay? I've heard you loud and clear. So this video, I will be making a true beginner's guide for raids. As you know, my channel is mostly focused about discussion videos and guild raid strategy. I understand that for newer players, I don't have a resource where I can point to, be like, hey, do this. And I am, it will be more efficient if I had a video that I could point to. Okay, this guide and comp is not exhaustive. There are improvements that can be made upon the thing. However, this is just my point of view. First things first, guild raids, your team is important. What's more important is the bosses you will be fighting. If you're a new player, you will be in a low-level guild. In low-level guilds, you will not be able to clear a lot of guild raid bosses, which means you are mostly going to fight commons and uncommons. Maybe you'll defeat all the uncommons and go up a tier, which is perfectly reasonable. However, let's look at the short term for a little bit, okay? If you look at these bosses, we see there are Turvigons, there are Hive Tyrants, there are Screamer Killers. Now, there are different Hive fleets, but realistically, they don't matter that much. So, looking at the three bosses we have, if we summarize what they do, Turvigon is the big guy, the one that summons a lot of Termagants. The Hive Tyrant is the one that flies, so you can't trap as easily, and it is the one that summons the Ripper Swarms. Screamer Killer, it is, I don't want to say simpler, because of the fact that he doesn't summon many things. However, he does stat check you. Stat check you, what it means is that he looks at you and you're like, hey, you better have the requisite stats to survive my attacks or you're going to die. So these three bosses are not mechanically complex bosses. They are pretty straightforward. The most complex thing you're going to see in these bosses is the Screamer Killer pushing you back and the Turvigon as well as the Hive Tyrant summoning things. These bosses, the reason they are early on the only things you face is to teach you about how guild raids function and the basic concepts of it. Speaking of basic concepts, you need buffers. Now, the most fundamental raid concept in the game, the most important thing you should take away from this video is that buffs are applied per hit. A character with multiple hits will benefit from buffs significantly more compared to a character who only has one hit. So to put it into an example, let's say I have Athena who buffs my attacks by 400 damage. If I have a character with a singular hit, they are going to benefit 400 damage because one hit plus 400. However, if I have a character with 3 hits, it's going to benefit from the buff 3 times. 400 per hit, so it's going to be 1200. That's why characters with multiple hits are generally better. Now, your team comp should be composed of buffers and damage dealers. Okay, very straightforward. You need to have a buffer because buffers are extremely valuable, and you need to have a damage dealer that can benefit from the buffer. You need them to be accessible enough to you where this video makes sense to watch, and you need them to do things outside of the raids. Personally, I'm a far end player. Like I have like a lot of time. My roster is very, very developed. I choose to only engage in guild raids. However, there are many modes in Tacticus, and it is important for newer players to play all the modes in order to level up your characters in a reasonable amount of time. So it's important you build characters that are good for raids, who are also good in other game modes where you will be able to develop your roster. If you build a character that's only good for exclusively guild raids, and you're a newer player, I would urge you to not build that character just yet. Now, speaking of accessibility, Bellator is an extremely good character. The moment you're done with the tutorial, the moment the game stops holding your hand, you have Bellator. Bellator, aside from being accessible, is one of the best characters in the game. He's good in his own campaign. He's good in every single campaign where you can take Imperial units. He's good in legendary release events. Legendary release events are how you unlock most legendary characters. As you know, it's a good way to unlock the characters freely. It's more it's more towards endgame, but it's good to have the character because of the fact that he can summon a lot of things with a lot of health and a lot of armor. He's good in guild raids, extremely good early on, however, also very good against Gaskell Traka. And more importantly, literally every single person who's watching this video has access to this character, right? You just have him out the gate. Now, so he's our multi-hitter. He has a lot of hits. Bellator has 6 hits, and he can summon, and the Inceptors he summons also have 6 hits. Now, we need buffers. This part might be like slightly less accessible. However, I'll explain my thought process. When you reach power level 7, you will receive 10 requisitions. These requisitions are predetermined, and 9 of these 10 requisitions will give you predetermined shards. One of those shards is going to be 40 Athena shards. You need 80 shards for Athena to unlock the character, so 40 is health plate there. Additionally, if you do daily missions, you will get Athena shards, so in a reasonable amount of time, I would say, you can realistically unlock Athena. It's one of the easier characters to unlock compared to other things. Additionally, the temple after that, after power level 7, the next temple you do is going to give you 4 scripted pulls. So 4 of the 10 requisitions you get will be set. I just, as with the Athena, I didn't want to highlight all of them because they don't really matter. But you will get 80 Eldrion shards. Once again, 80 Eldrion shards is not enough in order to unlock the character because it requires 130 shards. However, if you enter a guild, that way you will have access to the raid shop, and from raid shop you can buy buy Eldrion shards. 3 shards for 320 raid tokens, or not tokens, a guild raid resource. Now, I understand what you're saying. You're groaning. Hey, Draupnir, you said this will be accessible. This is accessible. Compared to other buffers in the game, these are the most accessible things you have access to. And to be honest, I don't know what other requisitions you're going to pull, right? That's also possible. However, these are the characters with which you can clearly make a roadmap to your unlock of them. Now, as far as buffers go, Eldrion has a Doom. I'm showing the stats of level 50. Eldrion is extremely good at plus 900 damage per hit. Athena gives a plus 400 damage per hit. There's a secondary damage value that's only for Eldar characters. I don't want to get into that. And the Path of Command gives you an additional 20% crit chance at max level. I do want to make sure you guys know that the summons, they don't actually have crit chances. So if Path of Command gives Bellator summons 20% crit chance, because they don't have a base crit chance, they will never be able to crit. However, they will still benefit from the 400 damage per hit. The reason I'm showing you both of these is just to be like, hey, Eldrion gives more buffs, Athena gives less buffs. There's give or take. Unfortunately, Eldrion is just strictly better. However, Athena is not a bad character. Additionally, Aleph Null is a character that you will unlock at some point while playing Tacticus. You do get a lot of shards from playing the Indomitus campaign. Aleph Null is a good character. Firstly, he is extremely, he's mandatory for the Indomitus Mirror Elite, which is an extremely useful resource in order to unlock characters. Or rather, character upgrade materials is more accurate, I apologize. So, Aleph Null, once again, he's good for campaigns, he's good for legendary release events because of the fact that he can heal himself, he's a mechanical thing. He's good in the mechanical team, right? Because of the fact that you can keep the Turvigon at the side of the map and whatnot. Like, that's high level stuff, don't worry about it. Now, he only has 5 hits, however, his active ability is called Scarab Swarm, or Scarab Hive. He goes next to an enemy, he uses active ability, he summons 2 Scarab Swarms. These Scarab Swarms both do 5 hits with a total of 10 hits. So if you go to a Turvigon with Eldrion's buff, that's 10 times 900 damage. That's a lot of damage, okay? I understand 900 is the max level, but you get the point. You will be able to proc the buff a lot of times. And after that, if the boss cannot kill the Scarab Swarms fast enough, they will duplicate. They will just do their own thing with the buffs. And while all this is going on, Aleph Null is going to be able to attack with his 5 hits on his own. So he's a good character. One notable thing, the Screamer Killer, because of how his multi-hit attacks work, he can actually one-shot the Scarab Swarms. So just keep that in mind. Aleph Null is probably not the best choice into the Screamer Killer. Now, this puts you at a good foundation for a team. Eldrion and Athena, either or you can include both. I personally suggest always having 2 buffers in any given raid team. And Bellator plus Aleph Null, especially into something like the Turvigon or the Winged Hive Tyrant. This is a extremely reasonable comp that is very realistic for players to achieve. Now, the reason I'm not going too deep into like all the possible iterations of combinations of characters and whatnot, it's because I don't know if you're going to spend real life money or if you're gonna get lucky from your requisition pools, okay? I just don't know. And maybe you're not going to, maybe by the time you're releasing this video, Snowprint's gonna like do something crazy. It is very common for there to be like character bundles. Maybe you buy a character with cash, like it's your own money, do whatever you want. It's just, I have no way of knowing every single situation that can possibly happen. I'm just showing you, it's like, hey, these are the characters, these are very good endgame characters that you easily have access to compared to other characters which are extremely hard to get. And this can form a good backbone for a guild raid team. Now, 5th character, we don't have it of course. You can just substitute whatever you want. If you unlock the Revas, now Revas does 6 hits, the passive is 3 additional hits for Eldrion, so 9 hits, that's pretty good. Maybe you get Morgan Raw, right? Maybe you get Volk, he has 6 hits, he's not that good, but at starter level, you have to make do with what you get. However, the most basic concept is buff plus extra hit, and these characters that you can see on your screen are very accessible to newer players. And just to be sure, just to like clarify, okay? In my roster, Eldrion, Athena, and Bellator are all maxed out. Because these are genuinely good characters. I think that's one of the things Tacticus does very well, where the characters you have an easy access, like easy way to unlock, are really easy, like really good. So Bellator, everybody has him, he's one of the best characters in the game. Eldrion, literally the best buffer in the game. You get 80 shards from your second 10 pull, and then you can farm the remaining shards through Guild Shop. Like, that is extremely approachable, and you should do these things. Now, the benefit, as I've said, you're building some of the most useful characters in the game, and you're not sacrificing your resources to build characters that are good only in guild raids. As I've said multiple times, Bellator and Aleph Null are extremely good in their respective campaigns. They're good in legendary release events. They're even good in war. Eldrion and Athena, they have their own campaign, so they're useful in that sense. And like leveling up does not impede your campaign progress. And as I keep saying, you need to finish the campaigns. it's extremely important that you finish the campaigns. That way you unlock the ability to farm a lot of upgrade materials so you can actually level up your characters to, silvers, golds, diamonds, whatever. You're laying the foundation for a good raid team in the future where you can slot things out. Because think of it this way. Into Rogolorn Battle Tank, you get Eldrion, Athena, Ragnar Blackmane, Anshi. Like, some of these characters you don't have, but Eldrion and Athena, like, you have them. Or into Gaskell Traka, you want Beltor for lock, Eldrion for damage, right? These are characters which are going to be useful right away, but if you keep investing in them, they're going to be really, really good. Not wasting resources is important. Personally, when I started, I wish someone told me, it's like, hey, Draupnir, you're currently investing in a character you really don't care for because you think they're good, but you're going to figure out they actually don't do as well as you thought they were going to do, and they're not good for campaigns. And I just wasted resources. I wish there was someone like that, and I'm trying to do that for you guys. That's it. That's the video. Thank you very much for watching it. I genuinely appreciate you doing so. My refer friend code is in the middle of the screen. If you want to enter it, you do get 100 Blackstone shards. And as I said, it's a great way to support the channel. Thank you very much for watching the video. Have a good day, and stay safe.